دونتيز وكل دونتيز يقول ثمن اليوم الثمن أقل ثمن والتذوق بالمجان.
This project, Homo Urbanus, is a really large-scale project we've been running for some years now. It's a big research project we've worked together on for 7 years, maybe. And this project is also, let's say, the evolution of a long time research we've been leading for 20 years now of observing how making films about the relationship people develop in regarding spaces from the domestic scale up to the city scale. So this is a sort of natural evolution in terms of scale from previous works and researches. And what we are really interested by is to capture through filmmaking, so through very accurate very accurate observations, these, let's say, invisible dynamics of how people relate to space on a physical dimension, how we collectively make use of public space, but also on the imperceptible and invisible impacts, which are more psychological and emotional. So this is, let's say, the line of research we've been doing for many years. Sorry. So we are so interested to understand how those, how cultural habits redefine our uses and way of inhabiting the space of the street. So we started on the scale of a house, and progressively, we experimented this way of looking at these physical interaction between people who usually take care of spaces, from small scale up to the scale of the city. But let's say that what we try to transform in the architecture, let's say, in the way architecture is represented, is to really replace the idea of use and the body and the people, let's say, the human figure at the real core of the debate, rather than portraying spaces, being public spaces or architectural spaces, as just design projects. What we are interested in is really in an anthropological approach to understand how people react, how people interact, how people adapt and endure those spaces.
We try to understand how people react in a public space. We wanted to understand how people relate to the others and to the space of the street, because the street is the real public space. So the choice of the cities has been done try to find the more possible differences between a relation to the street, to the public space of the street. So we try to choose different cities where this kind of street life is completely different. That's the first criteria that we chose for the cities, and after that also is obviously related to also the climate, the weather, because you don't live in the same time in the same way the streets in different weather and different climate. So these were from the beginning from the criteria for the choice.
This project is really thought as a very large video exhibition. So it's an installation in which the visitor will go through all these 14 films. It's not a journalistic exhibition in which we give data and information and we drive you to a conclusion, but we are trying to create these subtle confrontation between different cultural ways of inhabiting the street and different definition of what a public space can be from one angle to the other of the planet. But these confrontation are made in a subtle way by the visitor. The visitor at the end will get out of the exhibition really trying to question also his own relationship with the urban space and in his city. For now, the exhibition is in Lisbon, but before it was in Switzerland, it was also in Japan, it was in many countries. And so it's very interesting for us that the exhibition also spark a reflection locally in the town where it's shown, in order to create, yes, a debate about the local habits.
I try to, as we do, to experience the different life that you have in the public space and the street. So also the exhibition is conceived for that, not to explain you something, not to give you some analysis of data, but really to let you feel what is to stay, to live in a street in Mumbai or in a street in Bogota.
What we are trying to do is to really emphasize all the qualities of cinema. This is a cinematographic exhibition in which you will be completely immersed emotionally, because we are talking about image and sound and physical experience. And the way we conceive this exhibition is also to place the body of the visitor in such a relation with the scale of the image that you feel inside. So you will go to Mumbai, you will go to Bogota, you will go to Rabat, you will through the exhibition.
It's just as you probably you know very well, Mumbai, for example, I can give you all the data about the city. I can explain you everything about the city, but it's not the same to go there and live in the street
and
experience in the street, feeling the street. That's completely different. And when you are able to observe also, you spend some time to observe what is happening in the street, in that environment, you can understand many things that you cannot communicate through data. From the beginning, when we started to talk together about this project, we said what we have said now, that we needed to be inside the scene, inside the what is happening. So we didn't want to take information from outside, far. So for doing this, we needed a kind of a technique on the camera and the lens that is going to be very close to the people and staying with them and be part of the moment. So we decided to have a very small camera with a very wide angle lens, and obviously not having a tripod, because a tripod is something that you decide where to put the tripod, because you need a beautiful or interesting image, but we don't need this. For us, the camera is something that is coming with us, is accompanying us. Is not deciding. The camera is not deciding where to go. It's not deciding in the sense that normally when you make cinema or films, the camera is deciding where the best place where to be, because you want to have a beautiful image or important image, or because you want to explain something. For us, it's not the same. What is important is our presence. So is an exercise of presence in that moment, and the camera is with us just to share this presence with someone else. From the beginning, from the first film we made, called Assault on the House, is not creating a film, is not making cinema. We don't want to make cinema. We didn't study cinema. I studied architecture with art history. So for us, making a film was a tool to be in a place, to be present, and so also to share something. But sharing for us is like you share your memories, no? We decided not to create a film, but create a kind of collection of little moments. So all the films we make, and also for Homo Urbanus, much more than the other also, the order of all these little fragments is an order that we create on the editing. And the editing is really the language that we use to share, but it's not the language we use to experience that place. There are many moments, very strong moments that we lived during this film. It's complicated to talk about somewhat, but maybe also there's one it was very important for us in the beginning of this project was a moment we lived in Bogota when it started to rain very hard. It was raining very hard in a very delicate neighborhood, quite a dangerous neighborhood. And at the end, the water there was so much water everywhere that people couldn't walk because there was the city was flooding. And there was an homeless that he knew that every day the same scene was going on because it's raining every day during this season in Bogota. And so he prepared something with something he found, some bricks and some pallets that he found there. He prepares a kind of bridge to let people go in the other
to cross the street
without wetting their shoes. And doing this, when he prepared this, there was people queuing to pass in this, and he asked to everyone to pay. So it was a kind of how you say, it's a kind of a service that you imagine. And this is so everybody was passing and giving him some money, and he made a lot of money just in 20 minutes or in half an hour. This for us was very interesting example because it talks a lot about the adaptation of an urban environment.
I think there is an Indian word for this, jugad.
Jugad,
Yeah.
it's called jugad, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
jugad is very interesting word. It's like this. We are very interested in that.
We just released a new film, Softly Brutal, which was shot in Bangkok. And this film is really entirely dedicated to a specific area in the city of Bangkok, in the very center of Bangkok, and it's the neighborhood, the Klong Toei. And it's a film which is very observational about the very tiny details of daily life in this labyrinthine neighborhood, about how this community, how it works. It's really a maze, this neighborhood with incredible dense population. And we really wanted to understand how it works, what are the dynamics, and also the inventiveness of daily life. It's a sort of extension of the Homo Urbanus project. Let's say that, as you said, initially we were interested to, let's say, develop a sort of critical reflection about how this very mediatic architecture was represented and inundating our imaginary of what architecture was or should be. You know, we are very conscious of how much, for instance, young architects or students, how you build up your imaginary of what architecture is through images. I mean, nowadays, image is our first source of knowledge. So the way you make these images will definitely have a tremendous influence about how you will envision yourself as an architect. So initially, we really wanted to deconstruct these way of representing these very mediatic buildings, and slowly drifting to the scale of the city, we were much more interested in, let's say, portraying the relationship without any authorial signature, without the presence of architect, but how people relate to public space and from a culture to another. So that's why a film like Softly Brutal or all the films of the Homo Urbanus series happened. And so now we are, it's really much more through, let's say, yes, an anthropological quest of how specific areas, specific communities, specific spatial conditions will influence the people who live or work there.
絶対でかい未来のかけらたち घर में खाला घर में नहा